my side, and let me share the screen. Okay, fine. So I just connected to the SQL server. Okay, so if I want to see all the log files, all the databases log files, and how much free space is used, okay, there is a query, dbcc query, dbcc SQL perf perf of log space, which will tell you the log files of all the databases with percentage used, how much percentage used you can see here. If you run this query, you can see here. Okay, so see here, my master database log file size is 2.2 MB. In this 2.2 MB I have used 29 percentage. See here, percentage log space used percentage, and tempdb size is almost all 0.5 MB and 80 percentage used. Model db 29 8.6, msdb 672 MB and 1.7 percentage used. Okay, evening batch 519 MB, 1% is used. Morning batch 1.9 MB, 90% is used. So by using this SQL DBCC SQL perf of log space, we are going to check how much percentage log file is used. Very important. Regularly, we'll run this command to see how much percentage of log space is used. Based on that, okay, if 0% is used, okay, in such case, what we are going to do, we are going to shrink the log file. How to shrink it? Simple, very simple. Okay, right click on it. Say for example, see, evening batch log file size is 519 MB, right? If I want to shrink the only 1.2 percentage is used in the evening batch, right? So remaining almost all 98 percentage free space is there. I'm going to reclaim all the free space. Okay, shrink operation will be used to reclaim the free space. Go to evening batch database, right click on it, go to tasks. Okay, go to shrink, go to files, don't select the database, it will shrink the whole database. You can shrink the data files and you can shrink the log files also, but in the organization the recommended practice is you can shrink the log file but you cannot shrink the data files. Okay, if you shrink the data files, sometimes, okay, it may corrupt the data file again. It is very difficult to, okay, get the data file, so you have to restore the database. So that's why usually you can shrink the data file, but again it's not a recommended practice in the organization. So this is the data file. I want to shrink log file, right? Select the log file here. Okay, now you can see what is the database name, okay, and in which location your log file is stored, and how much is currently allocated space. We have seen, right, 519 MB here. Okay, if you see here 519 MB, evening batch 519 MB, right? And how much space is available? Free space, available free space is 513 MB. In 520 MB, almost all 513 MB is free space, means 98% of free space is there. Now I want to release all this free space. Select the second option here. Okay, you can see here minimum 0 MB, right? Sometimes it will show you minimum 100 MB, minimum 1000 MB, minimum something like 10,000 MB. What is the minimum value? Try to, okay, try to shrink till that minimum value. Say for example, if minimum is 100 MB, don't give 0 here. At least give some buffer space like 150 MB, like that you have to give. Now I want to shrink my log file to, okay, you can see, right, 0 MB, so no issues, we can give it 50 MB. Okay, means 519 MB will be shrink it to 50 MB. How much free space you are going to get it now? 519 means 520 minus 50, 470 MB. It is going to release it to the OS again. Okay, just click on OK, and now it was, okay, shrink. Sometimes it is not going to shrink like this. Okay, you have to do lot of things, and I'll tell you again. Okay, so don't worry about it. Sometimes even though you are shrinking, see here, earlier it is 519 MB, now it came to 50 MB, right? So in this, sometimes this is very easy. Okay, if it is showing 0 MB, here it is very simple to shrink it, but sometimes it is not that much simple. Why? Because as of now there is no uncommitted transactions in the evening batch log file. That's why it is showing 0 MB. Sometimes whenever application team is running any transactions in the database, then it will be very difficult to shrink the database. You have to follow a lot of practices. Okay, I'll tell you what and all best and worst cases of shrinking the log file. Why? Because that is a regular activity in the organization. Right, so we'll go inside the log file now. Okay, so now you came to know, right, what log file will do actually. Right, this is how a log file will look like. Okay, in the, this is the your data file. In the data file you will have pages architecture. This is your log file, and if you see here, the log file again divided into virtual log files. A physical log file means what? Go to see program files. Say for example, evening batch, right? Just now we have shrink, right? Go to Microsoft SQL Server and go to my 2008 R2 instance, go to MS SQL and go to this data folder. There you can see all the data files. This is the default location of data files and log files of every database. You can change it while creating the database and all. Okay. Evening batch, right? Just type yes. Evening batch, this is data file, and evening batch, yes. Evening batch underscore or no, not this one. Evening batch. Where is my log file? Yes, this is the log. No, 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 no. This is not the log file. Let me check the log file. What is the log file of this evening batch? Right click, properties. Okay, and go to file space. This is the log file, right? How the log file is there? Evening batch underscore log.ldf in the same location, right? Evening batch underscore log.ldf. Okay. Evening batch underscore log.ldf. Evening batch. Yes, this is the one. Okay. Evening batch underscore log.ldf. Right. You know, right? This just now we have shrinked it to 50 MB. Okay. The size of this log file is 50 MB. Right. This is the physical log file. This is the physical log file. The 50 MB is the physical log file. This physical log file, again it is going to be divided into number of virtual log files. A physical log file will be divided into number of virtual log files, VLFs. VLF means virtual log files. Okay, VLFs. A physical log file will be divided into number of virtual log files. Okay, number of virtual log files. So it is very difficult to tell the size of the log file. Why? Because it depends upon the version of the SQL server. It depends upon the size of the particular log file, physical log file. We cannot say how many virtual log files will be there inside a physical log file. Okay, what is the virtual log file size and all, we cannot say. It completely depends upon the log file size and the version of the SQL server. Okay, so in the log file we'll have VLFs, right? Virtual log files, right? So VLF means we'll have active VLFs and inactive VLFs. Active VLFs and inactive VLFs. Say for example, you are running this query, insert into student values one Shanmukh. Okay, that is a transaction. Insert into student values one Shanmukh. That is one transaction, right? That transaction first it will enter inside the log file, right? Then based on the space availability, it will go to any of the VLFs, virtual log files. Okay, we have two types of virtual log files, active VLFs and inactive VLFs. Active VLFs and inactive VLFs. You can easily identify the difference between active VLF and inactive VLF. Can anyone tell me what is the difference between active and VLF, active VLF and inactive VLF?
Active virtual file is there in that file we don't find any space, but in active virtual file we can find the space.
Okay, but here if you see in the diagram, what you can understand using the diagram? You can easily understand, okay? What is the difference between active and inactive VLF? Okay, so if you see here, there is a color here, okay? Something orange color kind of thing, okay? And if you see here, there is no color. What it means?
Backup.
Backup, okay, fine. Right, active VLF means the VLF which is holding the transactions is an active VLF. Inactive VLF means which is a free vacant VLF is called an inactive VLF. Got it? Active VLF means which is holding the transactions is an active VLF. Inactive VLF means as of now this is free, nothing is there. A free VLF means whenever you are inserting any transaction, it will go to first inactive VLF. If there is a phrase, if there is a space in the active VLF, it will go to the active VLF. Otherwise, if there is no free space in the active VLF, it is going to use any of the inactive VLF. Okay, if you again, if you go inside the VLFs, any VLF, active or inactive VLF, you will have log blocks. If you go inside the VLF, you will have log blocks. If you go inside the log block, you will have log record. Log record means what? Log record means, okay, this is the log record. The transaction is nothing but one log record. Insert into student values 1 comma Shanmukh. Okay, this is one log record. We are going to call this as a transaction or log record. Okay, so in the log physical log file, virtual log files will be there. In the virtual log files, log blocks will be there. In the log blocks, you will have log records. Okay, VLFs means virtual log file. Your physical log file again is going to be divided into number of virtual log files. In the virtual log files, we'll have active VLFs and inactive VLFs. Okay, clear? Any issues, any doubts? As of now, is it clear? Okay, right. So how it is going to allocate the VLFs to the transaction? Okay, so if you see here, these are the VLF1, VLF2, VLF3, 4, 5. Imagine. I'm not saying only 5 VLFs will be there. Depends upon the log file size. The VLFs are going to be increased. Okay, or sometimes it will be less also. One VLF will be there. Two VLFs also will be there. Right. So first it will go to this VLF. If any transaction is coming, first it will go to this VLF. If this is free VLF, means inactive VLF, it will try to insert. If there is no free space, it will go to VLF2. If there is no free space here, VLF3, VLF4, VLF5. Okay, again it will be back. Some VLFs will be truncated, right? In the meanwhile, some VLF will be truncated, right? Again, if the transaction didn't found any free space, again it will go to a round robin method. First it will check in the VLF1. If there is no free space, VLF2, then VLF3, VLF4. If any of the free spaces, then the VLF4, it will simply insert in this VLF virtual log file. Still, if there is no free space in the VLF4, then it will go to VLF5. Then again it will go to VLF1. Like that, if till it is going to find a free space in any VLF, it is going to rotate like in a round robin method, and the transactions are going to be inserted. Okay, so this is how a active VLF and inactive VLF will be there, right? So we have other points also we have to discuss about the log file, but again you will be confused. Okay, so I am going to skip that one. Okay, so like how many VLFs will be there, right? You can ask what kind of information it will be stored in the log file, right? So it will store almost all 108 attributes of the single transaction in the log file. It is not only going to store this transaction in the log file, it is not only going to store this transaction, it is going to store almost all 108 properties of this transaction. 108 properties of this transaction or attributes of these transactions. Okay, means say for example, simply if this query ran, it will be difficult, right? On what database it is going to run, at what time it run, who run this data transaction. So it is, you should have all these details, right? Otherwise it is very difficult to run this transaction. If any rollback roll forward happen, again it don't know in which database it has to roll back or roll forward and all. Okay, so each transaction in the log file, it is going to store almost all 108 properties. Means when the transaction came, at what time the transaction came, on what database the transaction has been executed, who is executed this transaction, what is the LSN number of this transaction. LSN means every transaction will have a LSN number, log sequence number. Okay, LSN means log sequence number. Okay, every transaction will have a log sequence number. Like table will have table ID. Okay, database will have database ID, right? By using these IDs we are going to identify the objects, right? In the same way, every transaction will have one LSN number. Okay, that is log sequence number. So SQL Server will allocate a LSN number to each and every transaction, and it is going to store in the log file. So every transaction, the log file is going to store about 108 properties of those transactions. Some of the properties are log file number, transaction ID, transaction statement means your query, this one, insert into table name, this is going to store, right? Why it is going to store? Again, if it has to roll forward or redo, in such case the query should be there, right? So that's why it is going to store the query. And on what database it has to run, it has to store the details, right? So that's why it is going to store the database details and all. Timestamp, at what time it came, statement IO, database details, in which database it has to go, in which database this transaction has to go, that particular details also going to be stored in the log file. Old image, new image means before transaction, what is the image of the log file? After transaction, what is the image of the log file? Log record type, committed or uncommitted transaction. Okay, SQL Server will allocate whether this is committed transaction or uncommitted transaction. Redo LSN and completion record. Like this, these are only sample. 11 are there, but like this, it is going to store 108 properties of each and every transaction in the log file. So that's why when compared to the log file, sometimes, so when compared to the data files, in the data file, simply it will store the data, 1 comma Shanmugh, that's it. It is not going to store anything in the data file. But in the log file, you see, lot of data is going to store about the transaction. Lot of data is going to store about the transaction. So when compared to the data file, log file size, sometimes it will be very huge. Okay. Once the transaction is completed, all these details has been, okay, truncated automatically. Why? Because once the transaction is completed means that particular record has been saved permanently to the data file. So there is no issues. There is no use of the transaction history also till that transaction or the data is going to commit in the data file. Till that point only SQL Server or log file will hold the transaction information. Once the transaction or data is committed to the data file, there is no use of the transaction, then it will truncate the transaction automatically. Sorry. Clear? Any issues, any doubts? Right, fine. So with that note, we have completed. Again, we have a lot of points about the log file, okay? But we are not going to discuss, okay? It will create like some kind of confusion. So sometimes they will ask you how to see the VLFs. What is the query to see the VLFs? Okay, there is a query DBCC log info. Okay, if you run this query, you can see how many VLFs are there for each database. Okay, how many VLFs are there for each database. I am going to run this query on my master. Okay, DBCC log info. That's it. Okay, so as of now in the master database, how many records are there? 9 rows, right? So 9 VLFs are there in the master, very small database. Let me run this on the, okay, evening batch, okay, some kind of a big database, right? And if you run here, see how many VLFs are there. Means my VLF, my employee database, employee, no, my evening batch database log file having 49 VLFs here. Okay, if you see file id 2, can anyone tell me what is this file id 2?
Log files.
Very good,
Linear
excellent.
files.
Okay, data file 1, file ID 1 means data file, and that's why you can see only 2 here. You cannot see any ID. Okay, means all the VLFs are part of the log file. That's why you can see file ID as 2 here. Okay, and the VLF size, this is the size of the each VLF. Okay, sometimes you can see it will be a equal parts. Sometimes it depends upon the transactions and all. And next is status is 0. Okay, if you see status is 0, how to find, sometimes you are going to get some questions, how to find whether a VLF is active VLF or inactive VLF. You can find whether a VLF is active or inactive VLF by using the status column. If the status is 0, then okay, it is a inactive VLF. If the status is 2, okay, that is an active VLF. If the status is showing 2, that is an active VLF. If the status is showing as 0, then that is an inactive VLF. You can see here only for this VLF, the status is 2, means this is only the, okay, active VLF in the evening batch database. Remaining all VLFs are inactive VLFs only. Okay, remaining all VLFs are inactive VLF only, right? In this way, sometimes very rarely you will get this question. Okay, very rarely you will get this question. They will ask you how to find the VLF's information, how to check whether an VLF is active VLF or inactive VLF. By using this query DBCC log info, you can find out the VLF size. Sorry, not VLF size. Okay, here you can see the file size. Okay, VLF size means file size only, and the status whether it is an active VLF or inactive VLF. You can find easily by using that DBCC log info query. Okay, fine. So there are two more points. Okay, but it is very confusing. If possible, you just read it. Okay, means how many VLFs will be there. Okay, how it is going to differentiate the size of each VLF, everything will be explained in this particular points. Okay, log block is very important. So whenever in the data file, what objects are going to be loaded inside the memory? In the data file, what objects are going to be loaded inside the memory? Today morning also we have discussed, yesterday also we have discussed. Okay, and again we have discussed during the page size. That point we have discussed during the page size. So from the data file, what and all objects are going to be loaded inside the memory? You all know the answer. You all know the answer, including Rajini. You also know the answer. Guess it. From data file, what objects are going to be loaded inside the memory? Anil, what objects are going to be loaded inside the memory from data file? You can try it. You know the answer.
Data.
What objects? Objects means tables, objects means files, file groups, pages. So what kind of objects are going to be loaded inside the memory? Whenever you're running a select query, what objects are going to be loaded inside the memory? Just now morning also we have discussed about the page size. While discussing why page size is 8 KB, we have discussed at that point what kind of objects are going to be loaded inside the memory. I am giving the hint till still you are not able to answer the question. What objects are going to be loaded inside the memory from the data file? Pages. Pages are going to be loaded inside the memory, right? You know the answer, right? Why you are hesitating to tell the answer?
Yes.
While discussing about the page size, pages are going to be loaded inside the memory, so it will cause performance issues. Too many pages will cause performance issues if the page size is very big. In that case, also it will take time to load the page inside the memory,
Yes, yes,
right?
yes.
So from the data file, pages are going to be loaded inside the memory. In the same way, from the log file, log blocks are going to be loaded inside the memory. Okay, from the log file, log blocks are going to be loaded inside the memory. So the unit of IO, the unit of IO of the data file is a page. The unit of IO means input output. Input output means reads and writes, read operations and write operations. IO means input output. Input means readings and output means writings. Sorry, input means writings, output means readings. Okay, read write operations. Right. So the unit of IO for the transaction log is log block. Means the log blocks are going to be loaded inside the memory to read or to write from the log file. These log blocks are going to be loaded inside the memory. Log blocks. If you see here inside VLFs, you will have log blocks, right? These log blocks are going to be loaded inside the memory. VLFs are split internally into dynamically sized log blocks. VLFs are splits means this log files, virtual log files splits internally into a dynamically sized log blocks. Dynamically, not fixed size. A dynamically sized log blocks, okay, ranging from 512 bytes to 60 KB in the intervals of 512 bytes increments. Means the log block size will be minimum 512 bytes to 60 KB. The log block size will be minimum 512 bytes to 60 KB, maximum 60 KB. Okay, so it is going to increase in the intervals of 512 bytes. Means 512 bytes means how much? Half KB, right? Half KB. Again 512 plus 512, 1024 bytes. 1 KB, 1.5 KB, 2 KB, 2.5 KB, 3 KB, 3.5 KB, like that up to 60 KB. The log block size will be up to 60 KB. It is going to increase in the intervals of 512 bytes. The minimum log block size is 512 bytes and the maximum log block size is 60 KB. These log blocks are going to be dynamically, these are the dynamically sized log blocks in the VLFs. Okay, and these log blocks are going to be loaded inside the memory from the log file. Got it? So that is all about your log file architecture. So we have completed data file architecture and we have completed log file architecture as well. If you still have any questions, just let me know on this internal architecture of the SQL Server data files and log files. Okay, so let me know what and all, any doubts, in the data file architecture and log file architecture. Clear, right? Right, fine. Okay, so if anything is there, just let me know. Okay, if you have any doubts, you can ask me, right? Fine. Just 1 minute. Right, okay, fine. So we'll discuss about the instance aware services and instance unaware services. Not a big topic, small topic, very small topic. So all the specific services are called instance aware services. Whenever you install a SQL server, we have discussed it, right? How many services will come? Whenever you install a SQL server, how many services will come?
6.
6 services usually. Okay, for SQL Server 2017 and all 5. Okay, but SQL usually 6 services. Okay, so instance specific services. Okay, and shared services. These specific services are called instance aware services. We can call it as a instance aware services. Okay, and these shared services are called instance unaware services. Instance unaware services. Okay, specific services like database engine service, which is very important, full text service. Okay, and database engine, full text, and
Database agent service.
sorry,
Database agent service.
okay, SQL Server agent. Okay, SQL Server agent. Okay, usually these are the specific services. Means it will exist once per instance. If you are having 2 instances, 2 into 3, 6 services will come. These are the specific services. And instance unaware services, SQL Server browser,
VSS like
VSS writer,
Active Directory.
Active Directory helper. Okay, so these are the shared services which will exist only once per the server, Windows server, once per the machine. Even though you install 10 instances, these will not going to be increased. Okay, only 3 services are going to be there from the shared services. So even though you install multiple instances, only single copy of this service will exist in the machine. But these are the specific services. How many instances you are going to install, that many services will come. And again, we have, apart from this, we have add-ons, right? We have add-ons SSAS SQL Server analysis services, SSRS SQL Server reporting services, SSIS SQL Server integration services. In these three, SSAS and SSRS are instance aware services, means it will exist once per instance. Okay, and SSIS is a instance unaware service, okay, which will exist only once for the whole Windows machine. Even though if you're having multiple instances, you don't find multiple integration services. Only one integration service will be there. Okay, for the whole machine, only one integration service will be there. Got it? So this is important. Instance aware services and instance unaware services. Don't think like we haven't discussed it. Sometimes they will ask you tricky. Okay, they will not ask you what and all shared services, what and all specific services. They will ask you what and all instance aware and instance unaware services. Okay, SQL Server agent, SQL Server analysis services, SQL Server reporting services, and full text services are the instance aware services. The instance unaware services are shared among all the installed server SQL instances. Okay, the following are the instance unaware services: integration services, SQL Server browser service, SQL writer service, SQL Server Active Directory helper service. These are the instance unaware services. Okay, right? Fine. So now we'll jump into the patchings topic. Okay, upgrades. We'll discuss about the upgrades, service packs or upgrades, anything we can call. Okay, usually we can call it as a updates. Okay, so you all people are using smartphones, right? So usually you can find the apps, applications in your mobile phone, smartphone, right? Once you are connected to the internet, okay, some if you just turn on the automatic updates on, then all the apps are going to be updated automatically, right? If you don't turn on automatic updates, then you have to manually update the apps. Sometimes you can see they will ask you to update the bank apps, they will ask you to update the WhatsApp. Okay, so what will happen if you update your application? What will happen if you don't update your application? What are the possible reasons? What are the best cases and worst cases if you update it or if you don't update it? Can anyone tell me? Just normal, everyone can tell this, tell the answer for this. What if you don't update your apps?
If if we update, we will get some
New features.
New features,
new
very good.
features.
If you
Yes,
update,
yes.
if we are going to get some new features. So WhatsApp introduces some new feature. Okay, if you update your app, then only you can get that new feature, right? If you don't update, you are not going to get the new feature. And apart from that,
Bug fixes.
bug fixes, very good, excellent. Bug fixes, very important point, bug fixes. So why we are going to update the apps? Bug fixes. Nowadays we have started our class 1 hour back, right? So during this 1 hour, lot of hackers, their work is to hack the resources around the globe. So lot of hackers are trying to hack the apps or applications. Okay, they are going to invent lot of virus files and all. They are going to simply inject those virus files into the systems. Okay, so if you don't update the apps, then there will be no security. Okay, there will be no security for your apps. Okay, and again sometimes you will have a lot of issues. Say for example, sometimes your mobile phone or Android OS will ask you to update. If you update it, sometimes it will be very slow. So it is not because of your phone, it is because of your OS. Your OS is not behaving properly, your OS is not working properly. Maybe some of the features are not working properly. That is called bugs. If some of the features are not working properly or not working as per expectations, that is called a bug. These bugs are going to be fixed with the help of updates. Okay, so for SQL Server also we have updates. For SQL Server, how our apps having updates, how our apps are going to auto update. So we'll have updates for SQL Server, but they are not going to update. There is no auto update for the SQL Server. We have to update it manually. We have to update the SQL servers manually. What these updates will do, it may fix the bugs, it may fix the security issues, it may enhance the security. Okay, so you will not get any new features in the SQL server updates. Okay, you will not get any new features in the SQL server updates and all. So make sure only to fix the bugs and for the security, to enhance the security of the application. For those two reasons, we have to update our SQL server. We have to update our SQL server. Okay, regularly we have to do this kind of activity in the organization. So we have different types of updates in the SQL server. Service packs is the main updates. Service packs is the main updates, not only for SQL server, even for your Windows laptop also it will release service packs. But we never patched your Windows laptop, your Windows OS 10 as of now. But Microsoft will release service packs for the Windows desktop versions, service packs for the Windows Server versions, service packs for the SQL servers as well. Microsoft will release the updates. Main updates are called service packs. And these are the major updates. We have minor updates also, which is CU, cumulative updates. Okay, service packs and cumulative updates. Service packs are major updates, cumulative updates are minor updates. Up to SQL Server 2016, we have service pack concept. Up to SQL Server 2016, we have service pack concept. SP, we are going to call it as SP. From SQL Server 2016 means from SQL Server 2017 onwards, there is no service pack concept. Okay, from SQL Server 2017 onwards, only cumulative updates, CUs. Microsoft is not going to release service packs, but again, I am not saying Microsoft is not going to release the updates. It will release the updates in terms of cumulative updates, not in the form of service packs. Microsoft is going to release the updates. Why? Because updates are very important. If there is no updates, then that will be very difficult thing. Okay, security and all will be a concern. Bugs and all, if there are any bugs in the SQL server, okay, those bugs are also going to be fixed by the service packs or else updates only. So updates are very important in the SQL server. Apart from this, we have QFEs. Okay, QFE, quick fix engineering, and GDR, general distribution release. Okay, apart these are the different types of updates in the SQL server. Okay, service packs, cumulative updates, QFEs, quick fix engineering, and GDR, general distribution releases. So GDRs are very important. Okay, so security concerns, say for example, suddenly one virus came into the market. Suddenly a big virus came into the market, right? 2018, I guess you people are remembered or don't remember, but ransomware, a virus called ransomware, came into the market. Almost all 40% Windows machines throughout the globe has been hacked. 40% of the globe Windows machines has been hacked using this ransomware. Simply hackers locked your laptop or server. They will ask you the money to unlock your server, right? So very difficult thing. Almost all 40 percentage of the machines has been, okay, hacked or else affected because of this ransomware. Suddenly one virus came into the market. In such case, what you will do? So immediately Microsoft will work on it. Maybe in a day or 2 days it will work on it, depends upon the severity of the virus. If it is that much severe, then immediately it will work and it will release one update. Those are the security updates. So you have to, okay, not only like big virus and all, it will release small virus, small updates also, small security updates also. So GDRs are security updates. If Microsoft released this GDRs, you have to patch your SQL server with the GDRs. So you can ask where I can see the updates. Okay, so Microsoft will maintain an inventory for all the updates. Okay, if you go to this, okay, SQL server builds, this is a third party tool, the website. Okay, if you go to this website, you can easily understand what and all updates are there. See here. Okay, so from SQL Server 2007, this is 7.0, 6.5, 6.0. We are not going to use all these, right? So if you see here, go up, this is for SQL Server 2000. Okay, sorry for that. Right, SQL Server 2000. 1 minute. Right. If you see here SQL Server 2000, this is Service Pack 1 update, this is Service Pack 2 update, this is Service Pack 3 update, this is Service Pack 4 update. Okay. For every SQL Server version, max to max, only 4 service packs will be there. Any SQL versions, max to max, up to 4 service packs are there: SP1, SP2, SP3, and SP4. I told you, right? Service packs are major updates. Cumulative updates are minor updates, right? So if you see here, see SP1, SP2, SP3, SP4. Okay, for SQL Server 2005, we have 4: SP1, SP2, SP3. If you want to download any of the service pack, you can click on it. If you want to download SQL Server 2005 SP3, you can click here, right? And 2008 4 service packs, 2008 R2 only 3 service packs are there. 2012 again we have 4 service packs, 2014 we have 3 service packs as of now, and for 2016 we have 2 service packs. See here, starting from SQL Server 2017, service packs will be no longer released. Okay, means there is no service pack concept from the SQL Server 2017.